Yeah, to go live, we are live, folks. Welcome to this edition of Conversations with TopDonn. Today, we're going to be talking about a couple of things, but primarily we are here talking about the Kenyan music industry. This is the first of hopefully a couple of shows, actually, because there's a lot of ground to cover. Today, I am joined by three esteemed people that have been involved in Kenyan music promotion here stateside in various capacities. I'll let them introduce themselves once I get them going. So, top right is Mr. Jojjo from Minneapolis, George Ndege from Kilimanjaro Entertainment. Jojjo, a couple of words.
Hi, how you doing? Couple words.
Bottom left on the screen here is Mr. Mike Wangugu, founder of Black Medley Films. Mike Abarigani.
Poor Kabisa. Poor. Yeah, it's more
Fantastic.
like, yeah. Wazi, man. Thanks for inviting us to have this conversation, man.
Karibu, karibu,
We,
karibu.
we've
And
been
bottom,
quiet too long, so it's good to
yep,
get back out there and contribute, do some stuff, and especially right now, like as we come to the end of the year and a crazy year, a couple of years that we just had. So this is actually good, to see people and come out. And I guess those years, made, at least for me, reflect on some things. And and maybe because it's age, I don't know. Yesterday was my birthday, so I feel like I need to share
Happy
more with
birthday,
the
bro.
audience.
Happy birthday,
happy,
boss.
happy 60th birthday.
Someone was reminding me that I've been too quiet, and I've actually kind of helped do some things in the industry. Me and my team, my friends, my partners in Black Medley, which is more, actually, Black Medley is more like a production entertainment company. Um, Not really passive film. So we do many other things under that umbrella. So yeah, Wazi, man.
No doubt. And in the bottom right-hand corner is Idris Brayo Judah. We all call him Brayo. Mr. Brayo is out in Arizona. Karibu, Brian, a couple of words.
Nashukuru, asante sana. A couple of words, ndio hizo.
No doubt. Yeah, so basically, like we said at the top of the show here is our aim, at least today, is to try to set the journey that has taken place in terms of Kenyan music promotion and artist promotion here stateside. So I'm going to defer to you, Jojo, just to begin the conversation here. So we were talking offline about the old days in terms of bringing artists in. It's almost Thanksgiving is next weekend.
That's
And if
right.
you remember, yeah, and if you remember in the older days, you're looking the year 2000, 2001. That's when the Kenyan music scene was really popping off, obviously back in Nairobi, Kenya, and here stateside as well. That is when, for example, you had the likes of Mr. Googs and Vinnie Banton when they first came to the US to actually do a performance. That seemed to be the initial time when that cross connection between the artist in Kenya and the artist here started, and shows here stateside started to happen. And one very influential person. In fact, for me, the most influential person in getting those sorts of tours going was yourself, Mr. Jojo. So, I'll let you go ahead and talk about that experience and kind of that how it came to be.
Yeah, actually, for me, it started back in the college days because you have friends and they ask you to play music from your country, music from your country, and we really did not have any well-produced music coming out of Kenya. So whenever they asked for that, you played Congolese music. That was the African music at that time. Okay, but when it comes to events, I started back in 1997, 1998. And it first happened when I took this band to New Jersey. It was a Minneapolis based band that I used to manage. Took them to New Jersey uh, for a Kenyan event. Back in the day, it was. What was the name of that group? But it was you remember Deno and Ken. They're the ones who were holding it down over there. And I get there and there's like hundreds of Kenyans at this joint and I had never seen that many Kenyans in one place. And the DJ was the one and only Otieno V. Back in the day, he was like the bishop.
No doubt.
He was like the bishop. And the music that played all night was Ndombolo. I don't remember if I heard any Kenyan music. But Otieno V, alipoambiwa watu enda chini, everybody went down. That's how it was. It was like he was the bishop and he had a congregation. Okay. Then from there, I came back to Minneapolis and said, this can happen here too. So in 1998, I threw the first bash in Minneapolis. And then afterwards, I started an event called Wakilisha, which you came to, Don, remember?
Yep.
When you used to be in Nebraska. So I used to do it every first Saturday of the month. And everybody, all the Kenyans from the college towns around, and of course from the Twin Cities here in Minneapolis and St. Paul, came to that event. And then other Africans started coming, even African Americans. It grew to be big, but really there wasn't Kenyan music. Okay, that time I believe there was 2 CDs we had by Ted Josiah. I don't know if any one of you remembers the name, the title of the album.
Something Kenya. It was.
It was Kenya, the first chapter.
Yeah, chapter.
First
Yeah,
chapter,
Kenya.
right? Yes.
And Kenya, the first chapter. And in those days, I used to force the DJs to play Kenyan music. Usipocheza, I deduct it from your pay. That's how it started, by the way.
You're the president.
That's how it started. Because Wakenya ukiwawekea Kenyan music, they sat down.
Mm-hmm.
But me, I encourage DJs now, even if they sit down, play paka ngoma ishe. You know, that's how we started. And then I started an open mic, 30-minute open mic, and that's where people like DJ Expect started coming through to rap. And then Mike, you brought San Jose, and I remember.
Yeah.
And then so that morphed to where I worked with Kenyan Yetu to bring Mr. Googs, Vinnie Banton, and Red Sun to the US in 2003. Those were the first Kenyan acts to come to the US specifically for an event. And then from 2003, I did Red Sun's tour in 2004. That was the first ever tour. And the Nameless toured the same year. All right? Brayo, you were there.
Yeah.
That first tour. That's when Kenyan music, featuring Kenyan acts from Kenya, now started penetrating the diaspora. We can continue, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of how I got involved and how I started with the music.
No doubt. Brayo, you've been mentioned here as part of the tour. So part of the Nameless tour, I believe, from 2003 or 2004, when you were out in when rugby was in San Diego. I think, Mike, that was when we were at the Queen Mary, right? I believe that was the one. So at that point, Brayo, this question is for you. It seems to me, my own personal view is that the dance choreography in itself, as far as what Kenyans were doing, was top notch in terms of if you compare to what other people were doing, even in the videos at that point, they really didn't seem like to me that there was anybody on that level yet. And if you look at what we have today, so right now, dance choreography is a huge part of Afrobeat and making songs become viral and things of that nature. But we don't really see that coming from our own Kenyan dance troops. Why do you think that's the case?
It's something also I was talking with. You guys know Fundi Frank, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Fundi is one of the guys who I'll say he really supported me and also the dancers I was with back home and came to stuff like costumes to just make sure that we look good on stage. But in terms of production for dancers, it's something I'll say we don't take serious back home. We don't take it serious. We don't take it serious in terms of the video set production, because you can have people to just come and dance. But when you have dancers who actually have trained, because um, dancers in a video, it's not just coming and showing up, it's you're playing a character, and you're communicating something by your movements and everything. So, and then stage production is a totally different thing also. That's why, like, the 2004 tour uh, was what it turned out to be, because um, me and Mlash, it was either we do or die. So we had to learn the art and also being passionate about it. So right now, one of the things I'll suggest is, especially with artists, they start looking in terms of the production of dance on their videos, and because that's how you create a movement today. Afrobeat is not just a beat, it's a movement, but it's also a movement that is physical movement. So you find whenever the beat drops, people know where to the direction of movement they need to move to. I remember, if you guys recall, when the song came, Jojjo, everybody knew what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It was a
Yep.
movement. And that's what music, when you combine music and dance together, you create a movement. Right now, I'm a piano DJs.
Right.
And look at what they're doing. It's a movement. Because once those DJs starts playing, next thing they're dancing. So it's a movement. And that's one of the things that on our side, especially in Kenya, we don't take it seriously when it comes to production of dances. And for me, that's when I fell into more dance choreography, because I don't want to be more on the stage. Pardon, I have to cough. I don't want to
That's
be more
okay.
on the stage. I don't want to be
It's
more on
okay.
the stage. I'd rather be on the side or behind the scene and push the dancers to be able to produce that which will make us look that great. Even the Alikiba concert that was done by TOD in Atlanta, Thanksgiving, it was all about what even Alikiba himself, that's how he ended up becoming friends, because of the level of dancing that we threw on stage. So that commitment, where it's a do and or die, and then the production level, because you're not just there to do moves. It's a product. You as a dancer, you're producing something. You're an artist. So if you don't, most dancers are not considered back home as artists. They are considered as a backdrop. But we working with Nameless, Nameless treated us as artists. Mr. Lenny treated us as an artist. So when you went on stage, you were not backdrops, you were artists. And that's also another thing that is killing the dance industry back home, because they are treated like backdrops instead of being treated as artists.
I see. I see. That particular concert is funny because we were talking about it offline. About a week ago, Nameless and Wahoo have a show on back home on TV. The MZ or the Madenges, and he had hit me up about a video that I had. Now it just so happens that the person who actually captured that video was Mike himself. So the footage that he had actually wanted Mike was the footage from that particular concert that you had done. So this is, I think, is a good segue for you because a lot of those old moments, I'll say the concert Brayo is talking about, and the stuff, for example, Thanksgiving Atlanta. You know what a lot of the younger people do not realize that is that since there was no social media at that time, there was a lot of things happening, but they're just not documented well. In fact, in most instances, they're not even documented at all.
Mhm.
And the reason why I think you play a really important part here, Mike, is that you had seen this before and you have documentation of what was taking place at that point. So for those watching and might not know, so Mike was one of the, actually the first person to capture at that point what was the biggest Kenyan event here in the US, which was Thanksgiving Atlanta. he also he also captured the rugby at that time LA Sevens, right, which is Kenyans in Exiles, and the one that I really want to focus on here, Mike, is your actual feature film, which is called Hip Hop Colony. About 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I think we had a conversation where, we were talking about the passing of Big Mike, who was featured in the movie.
Mhm.
And there's a snippet from that movie that was doing the rounds, and people had no idea where it was from. And then I was like, hey, somebody asked me about this, and you said people have been asking you about it. So maybe you want to delve into that topic and what motivated you to actually decide to document where the Kenyan music industry was at the time that you did the film.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, that was an exciting, I guess, moment for all of us. Myself, the reason why is because when I left Kenya, um, there was no industry. There was no music industry like that. People, yeah, they were doing music in pockets, here and there. I know some people that I went to school with that were, aspiring MCs and rappers and whatnot, musicians. I knew of the likes of, Ted Josiah's studio in existence because he had some songs on TV, Jamadelic and all that stuff. So we knew of some Kenyan activities, like Nairobi and Nino are there and all that, but it was not an industry that you'd say I'm doing a show and then people actually pay to come see. So when I left to come to the States, I was here 4 years maybe by the time I went back. So I came in 96. Then I went back to Kenya in 2000. Or was it 1999? I want to say 2000 or 1999. 1999. And at that time, we went to Carnival before I left, like the weekend just before I came back. And Maxi Priest was performing, and the curtain raisers were Kalamashaka and I think Red Sun, Chameleon, a bunch of Africans, man. Like when these guys came on stage, everybody ran. And I was there confused. I remember that time I've just come back from State Row. I'm coming to Kenya. I'm with my cousins, right? I'm taking them out.
Right.
And everybody's excited about seeing Akina K Shaka and people are singing back the songs, rapping along. And I'm like, what is going on here, man? So anyway, that really was inspiring. It stayed with me. So, at the time I pursuing school and all that, film school and everything. And I was like, I knew exactly what my project was going to be. So I made that, my project from school, and we formed a company with my partner, Russell, and we went to work, man. And we said, we're going to do it. We're going to document this. And then immediately after that, it took a while to get ready and prepare mentally and all that. But in 2003, I went to Kenya and started filming. And it was the perfect moment because everything was raw. There was raw energy. All the scenes were vibrant. It was like hip hop back in the day in New York when hip hop was alive. When the energy that I felt was that same energy as a hip hop head that, the Lost Boys had. That when New York had the hip hop on lock and all the music, and that vibe, that's exactly what I saw in Kenya as an outsider. So it was perfect time for me to come with a camera. And I guess it's the whole thing of being outside of the box and you have a clear picture. So I could see how all that was connecting and the energy, and people were actually giving you raw energy, spitting. It was passionate. There was no, there was a transition at the same time. You could feel people going from mimicking American music to now doing original Kenyan songs that have a vibe that people connect with. The cliques were connecting. So the people who liked at the time the Kapuka music were on this side, and they were down. They would die for that. The people who loved hip hop, they were here. They would die for that. So it was, energy was perfect. So that's basically what I did. I was able to document that. There were so many events, man. I was there from December till January, and there was every day there were events from Thursday or maybe Wednesday till Monday. There's events every night. We were busy. I was, traversing Kenya. I think I went with Brayo to Kisumu. I met you guys there, I think, right? When Nameless was there.
Yep, we did.
Yeah, with Nonini. The energy was
And
exciting. So yeah, and Juakali. That's basically what ended up being Hip Hop Colony. And the story that for me as an outsider, because I'm based outside of Kenya, and I'm a diasporan, right? It's kind of like what Jojjo was saying. When you're here, everybody wants, when you're in school and everything and living here, everybody's asking you, hey, where you from? When they hear it with your accent. Before they see that, they see a black person, right? Until they hear your accent. And then now they get more interested. The ones who are interested, they ask you where you're from. And if it's about entertainment, you'll talk about your music. And same thing like Jojjo, play me your music. What's going on? What's the vibe there? Or to me, it was passion. I was like, I just came back and I wanted to share what I saw. So we started playing that music everywhere. I came back with a bunch of CDs. By then, I'd already started a entertainment company with my boys, Johnny and Timo, Simba Freak Entertainment, which was a monthly event where we play African music in the Bay Area. We had the Bay, we had California on lock. People used to drive from LA to come attend our events. We used to do a monthly. And so that's the music I was playing. I came back with a bunch of music. I made connections with people like Homeboys when I was there. So they were sending us music to play and promote. They had projects, so we became like a pipeline or a radio for them out here, getting people to like the music, just, entertainment, basically, African entertainment on lock. So see, I talk too much. I lost my thought.
No, I can definitely attest to the fact of like right around the 2002 time frame. That December, I also happened to be in Nairobi at that time, and I had not been in Nairobi for, let's say, 5 years, I believe. And the previous time when I had gone being a DJ that would come from here, I would go to Kenya, and when I would play, because I'd go in the December time frame. So when I would play shows over New Year's, like the biggest songs, your song Yakuvuka Mwaka, right? So you're going from the one year to the next one. That song that you play before and after midnight pretty much typically is the biggest song of the year. So that year when I went home was the first time, like right before midnight, they're playing Nameless, they're playing Nonini, they're playing Juakali. Even at midnight, the biggest song that year was Unbogable. And that's the song that Ilivuka Mwaka Nayo. So that's when I personally realized, I'm like, my goodness, times have definitely changed, and that kind of piggybacks into what you said, because the time frame is the same. You see, you're talking 2002, 2003, and that's the same thing Jojjo was talking about as well. Is 2003 is when it also really popped off in terms of getting artists and people here stateside, the diaspora here, at least in the US, starting to appreciate kind of what was coming out of Kenya.
Exactly, and for me, thanks for reminding me. The connection for me was, since I was already exposed to this other side where we're playing the music in our events in the nightclubs here, and really working hard to break it here. When I came back, I was adamant about trying to share it, not just with Kenyans. We started doing it. So my Simba Freak, there was 3 of us, and each one of us concentrated on like one genre of music or one area of music, but we promoted the company together. But I was more heavy on the hip hop side of things, So we knew a few hip hop DJs in other clubs, the big clubs that are already established here, like KML, for example. So when we started sharing venues and doing events together, because now our audience was getting popular and popular by the minute, because we're doing events in different places. The request was there. The Africans, Wananchi, our people, started going out to these clubs, and we started meshing these people together. So you'd find in a night, there was a typical American hip hop crowd, dance hall crowd, but then there was a pocket now of Africans trickling into these new territories, into these new venues. Because before that, all African entertainment was in the background, was in the house parties, in community centers when you're doing Harambes and Jamhuris and all those events, Madaraka Day and stuff like that. But now, we were finding ourselves sharing the same decks with your hottest DJ at the time. People like, I don't know, Chewy Gomez and stuff like that. The same event, there was a big event called Soulville. Soulville was like huge. It used to happen like, it was a quarterly event, I think. It used to happen in San Francisco in the docks, in a ship. and we were involved. There was a bunch of DJs. So Simba Freak being involved and taking this music there. So you see the African audience now coming out. And in those events, we're playing Kenyan music, and of course we're playing the big hits, the Ndombolos and all that stuff. But to me, I think that was when I started seeing people now, my people as Kenyans, appreciating what was happening in Kenya, because now they could see their counterparts, the Americans, dancing to Nameless or dancing to Ogopa DJ beats. Because them beats, those beats could make anybody dance. You don't know what they're saying, but Lucas was sick on the beat.
He really was.
Right? He could play songs, you will dance whether you like it or not. So and that's that excitement helped, kind of propelled me to really want to document that. So I'm always grateful that I was able to do that, and have that story be told on this side, because I really wanted people here to connect with that, to understand that there's something happening in Kenya. There's an industry, because now I'm seeing people making money out of the music. I remember having conversations with Nonini a few years after, talking about, yeah, man, I just built a house for my mom. And I'm like, dude, I remember when this guy was making music in what's his name? Clemo's
Calif Records.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
You went from that making. They had a small mixer, like a 24-channel mixer, man. Like, now he's talking about, I just bought my mom a house or something. Like, I'm like, yo, this is an industry, man. This is not a joke. These guys are onto something. And I really wanted to tell that story, and open, basically just shine light on that and show people outside of Africa. I mean, here, because I'm based here, what is happening there, and hopefully try and make that industry become legit, because that was the issue that I was having, which is funny because some of these topics are here today. We were hearing them at that time, even when the music was starting,
Correct.
So it's not foreign, even at that time when the music was beginning, people were still complaining about the quotas, the what, but the music was happening. The movement is still happening, so, it's just been, the whole journey has just been inspiring.
But I feel that we reached a peak at some point and then leveled out or dropped. Because 2003, 2004, up to probably 2008, Kenyan promoters were the most dominant in the US. We controlled the market, okay? Kenyan music was big, and I mean Kapuka. Kapuka is what did it. After we killed Kapuka, we created a problem for ourselves. And we've never been able to go back there. So we actually have to talk about what happened and what is it that we can do to bring that glory back. Because we've talked about this many times. There's nobody to blame. It's all of us. There's no single person to blame. It's all of us. When we were doing promotion, because it's us and others during our time that broke Kenyan music into the diaspora. Okay, we worked as a group. That's one thing I don't see happening now. Okay, we used to drive to Chicago to support TopDonn's events, not to compete against him, to support him. All of us used to go to ATL Thanksgiving to support Kenyan Yetu, not to compete with them. Okay? We used to go to rugby to support them, not to compete with them. That way we had huge Kenyan events that were actually profitable for the guys who were doing it. But it came to a point where there was unnecessary and useless competition that one Kenyan promoter would throw an event, for example, rugby, okay? The first rugby, everybody, each one of us remembers it vividly. Queen Mary.
No.
That was the second one. That was the second, right?
Actually, no, that was the third one.
I was a third.
Yeah,
that's
so
that's
we
how
did
far back we
two.
go.
That was the third one. We did two. Simba Freak and Nagi event were the first people to ever do an event when rugby came. And
Okay.
it was at Redondo Beach. We did the first one.
Oh yeah. I
Yes.
remember that.
And
What
then
I'm
the
talking
second
is
one, now
biggest
everybody,
one ever.
it was a floodgate, right? And then there
Yes.
was promoters came from East Coast, and it was a bit crazy. And then all the California guys came together, and then
Right.
all the people outside of town came together in a different venue. And then officially is now when the Queen Mary was the last one in Los Angeles before going to San Diego. That's
And that
one.
was the biggest one
people-
ever.
Yeah, that was the first one. Now when people say let's try and work together, the Queen Mary, that was epic.
Yes, but even that, Nagi had a separate event.
I don't remember the details there. At that time, I was the Queen Mary one. I was promoting the movie was coming out, so I was heavily involved on the film stuff at that time.
We were together. So that was a huge Kenyan event that brought all of us together. You see, so now, okay, Memorial was huge.
Yep.
And all of us went there, and we went to support them. Okay, I did events in Minneapolis, and Don and other people used to come and support. But it came to a point where everybody was competing against everybody else unnecessarily, and that is one of the reasons why the market, why the industry just sunk, because nobody was making money.
Well,
you know what I mean? So
yeah.
we need to look for a way, because Kenyan music has to come back. And that's why we have to be careful when we talk about Kenyan music, what we're talking about. We are basically talking about Kenyan urban music.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're not talking about Benga, and Ohangla and other forms of music, which are very successful locally, by the way.
Okay. So Jojjo, let me ask a question, because
Yeah.
I feel like Kenyan music, it doesn't need to come back. It's been there, right? I feel like it's always been there, especially right now. It's there, but there's no connection. I think the better way to phrase that is agreeing with what you're saying. We need to work together now purposefully, because now we know. So it's not the Kenyan music coming back, but it's the promoters coming back to work together, because the music is still thriving. When I look at what's happening in Africa right now, in Kenya, in my opinion, I think Kenya has finally found its voice. You know, the way we talk about what's a Kenyan music, what's a Kenyan song? In my opinion, I think the music coming out of Kenya right now, especially with the Sauti Soul, the Soul Generation, had the band, that group of people, that they're beginning to, there's a sound that they finally found, and they're owning it. And the writing is also complementing that sound, so and the videos are matching that sound. So there's a transition happening right now. And I think
True.
we need to let that develop. It's like, to me, that is in the stomach. It's a baby developing, and we need to make sure we protect it until maturity, until whatever gives birth. In the meantime, we, as I guess the OGs or the people who used to be there, at least guys who can talk. I know this is just a few of us. There's many people. There's guys.
Many.
There's the old school guys, the old school guys, the you guys, and then there's the young school guys, the new school guys who are doing it. The focuses, right, with PXP. That's different level, right? So bigger platforms and whatnot. So there's so many people. How do we work together as a diaspora? Because for me, I think my biggest thing is, if we look at what the Nigerians have done and how Afrobeat is popular today, it's popular because they capitalized on the folks in the diaspora in the UK, the people in the UK. Those people had the pounds, had the euros, had the dollars, right? So when they're streaming music without limitations, those guys in Kenya, in Nigeria, are making money like crazy, because they have numbers, right? And they're big, and they're connected. They're everywhere. There's nowhere you go, there's no Nigerians. So they'll play that music. They'll make it look popular. Just like what Khalid does. Khalid makes anything look good, right? Because he's going to tout it and promote it. Everybody will be like, okay, I guess this thing is good. Let me go with it. Nigerians have done that. They've owned the market, entertainment part. They're very loud and proud. That's what they've done. We are very mellow. Until someone ulises us, where you guys from, we don't say anything. We just blend, right? We just blend. We're very timid as Kenyans. We're not proud, right? South
I don't
Africans.
think we're timid. We are humble.
Humble.
I think it depends. I think it depends because both Mike and Jojjo bring up good points, and one particularly that I want to hit on. So it never used to be that way in terms of the artists back home not looking at we here at the diaspora and saying, okay, this is a market I need to get at. I'll give an example. I mean, like in the old days, the CDs that I put up, the Twendekazi CDs, at that particular point, there was two things happening, right? Because at that time I was on Sirius XM, right? And that was on the Ngoma channel, which was playing African music. Just this today, I looked at a playlist of the songs that I used to play. Guess what the biggest songs were? They were Kenyan songs, you know. And what used to happen is you would get artists, I'm talking Kleptomaniacs, obviously Nameless, artists like Sema, they would reach out and say, here is our new music. This is what we have. We want you to play this. And we had a network, like Jojjo has said. So I knew if something has come out here, you know who else needs to get it? Jojjo needs to get it, you know? Somebody else needs to get it like this.
It was like a music group.
Yeah, we had a network of people and we all knew each other. And that didn't just translate just to music as well, because it in those days it was kind of like the DJs also tended to be the promoters as well. So they were kind of like serving multiple purposes. And actually we spoke offline. Brayo made a joke about you know, when they came on tour, nobody knew how Nameless looked because there was no way to get the music at that point. But someone like Jojjo had come in and had filled that gap, and I believe he has like some original CDs from that era, because that was the only way you could get that music. So, Mike, to your point, you're very correct in terms of, yes, we seem to have found our footing with what the Kenyan sounds like. And I think you mentioned like your Sauti Soul, Heart the Band, people like that. I want to add in Muthoni Drummer Queen as well.
Definitely.
She really has that sound that might not translate for Kenyans in Kenya, but it's working elsewhere around the world. So I think getting that I think we called it timidness, or Mike or Jojjo said that we are timid. I don't know if they're really timid, but there definitely needs to be more of a collaboration. And I think that's where we kind of come in, and other industry players as well, because we're still here. Very many Kenyans, Kenyan DJs, Kenyan promoters are in positions that they can make a big change if we thought about it properly and said, let's move forward. Because, you know, these things that we're talking about here, the tours, the songs, stuff you've documented, we were here before Afrobeat was here. That's just a fact. That's not gaslighting. That's just a fact.
Yes.
You know?
We were here before, and we were also here before Bongo flavor.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Okay. So we have the blueprint. We have the blueprint. Something happened somewhere, and we need to recapture that. Mike, I didn't mean that we lost the music. I meant that spirit.
Yeah. No, I get it.
I meant that spirit. And for the young promoters now, they're not at fault, okay? And because they're doing just what they know how to do. But we need to reconnect somehow. Because I'll tell you what, Nigerian music has gotten where it has because it had a platform. They had Fela before then, okay, and others that they emulated. They just modernized the sound. South Africa the same, Tanzania the same, okay. I remember in the 70s and 80s, a lot of people used to tune to Radio Tanzania Dar es Salaam to listen to Tanzanian rumba music. So the craziness or the love for Tanzanian music did not start yesterday. Okay? It's been there for a while. I'll tell you where Kenya got disconnected. Kenya got disconnected because of politics. And a lot of people don't look at that. That was the main reason. right after independence. We'll talk that about that in depth when we hopefully feature my book someday, Rumba Evolution. I discuss that.
Right.
What actually happened is right after independence, Kenya was very united. Okay, then after the first Kenyatta and Jaramogi fell off, it divided the country almost into two. And the politics penetrated into everything, including music. So that in Nairobi, a lot of the establishments were owned by Kikuyu businessmen. But do you know that there were a lot of areas where Luo bands could not perform? But that was the most popular music then, rumba.
Mhm.
Okay? Because of that politics, we became so divided that now you will not see Samido performing in Migori.
It's a very good point.
Or you will not see Ohangla in Nyeri. What is the implication of that? Is that artists are losing money. When Diamond releases a song, it goes to the whole of Tanzania, to the whole 56 million people. But when Samido releases a song, it's a Kikuyu song. So he is limited to that. And then with time, we just got totally disconnected that way. And so the urban music that we have now is not connected to our root. Ni mtu ingia kwa studio anasema nitengenezee beat. Hiyo beat inakaa poa. Nitaroga. Okay? But when Diamond goes to the studio, okay? Or when any Nigerian artist goes to the studio, akitoa beat, unaweza sema hiyo ni ya Nigeria. Because it piggy rides on their cultural, traditional music, whatever you want to call it. Kenyan urban music does not ride on anything. That's our biggest problem. Now, you talked about Sauti Sol. They've started to reconnect that. Until we connect that, then Kenyan urban music will have an identity. We don't have it now. We need to work on that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that today because I was thinking about if you look at yesterday, the Davido had this stunt online where he kept telling people to send him money because it was his birthday and stuff. So he got like, I think it's like $400,000 or something like that from different artists. But if you look at the breadth of artists that he touched, so you're looking at the very beginners from Don Jazzy to D'banj, right? So Don Jazzy, D'banj. Then you have people like him in terms of their breadth and spread of artists. You've got medium to like long range of artists who've been there for a while, right? Davido, Burna Boy, Wizkid are the ones who are like really known now. But what I see also from them coming down the pipeline is they've got a lot of newer, younger people as well with that template to follow. And so they have a formula. Here's a formula, move forward with it, and the ball is moving. And I think that really is Kenya's biggest problem in terms of there really was no formula because there was no there is no structure pretty much in terms of the music then. We had something that was there. I mean, I can take out the CD that was done by the group Sama from 2006. Personally, till today, that's one of the very best albums ever done. Like if I took that CD out and played it today, you'd be like, wait a minute. And this is from 2005. So we have the capability to do it. It's just that for some reason, could be one of the reasons Jojjo has mentioned, we just have not been able to move the ball forward. And we kind of had a break whereby even our biggest events, it went from Thanksgiving, where we've got Mr. Googs, we've got Nameless, we've got who. Then the biggest events moved from Thanksgiving. They've moved to rugby. The first couple of rugbies, like we're saying, the Kenyan artists, all of a sudden, 5-6 years later, it's techno, it's Yemi Alade at the biggest Kenyan event. I mean, come on.
Or a reggae artist.
or a reggae artist. I mean, how does that happen? I mean, which other African country would actually really stand for that? Let's be honest. You know, we are very blessed, Kenya, to be a good rugby playing country, and we have probably we have 5 to 6,000 people that used to go for rugby.
Mhm.
Any African country that can get those people in one spot, and then have an opportunity to entertain them and choose somebody from another country, that's a little disturbing in my book. But I guess that's kind of where we are, because promoters are businessmen as well. But
Yeah.
in my view, hopefully, if and when rugby does come back stateside, we will not be in the position where it's like, wait, artist sijui ametoka wapi amekam kuperform. That's, to me, that's just wrong.
That is wrong. It is
Yeah, to me,
not that
that's
we
just
don't.
wrong.
I love reggae music. Okay, I like Afrobeats. Okay, but there is no day Sauti Soul is gonna be the headliner at an Independence Day event for Nigeria. It's not gonna happen.
No, never. It'll never
It's
happen.
not gonna happen. So we need to work on those things. That's for sure. Okay, we need to connect the culture with the music. That's missing. And sometimes Kenyans, when you give an opinion, it looks like we are criticizing somebody, but it's not. For example, I can tell you, I love Nadia Mukami's music.
Yes.
Okay, I love Calligraph. Okay, I listen to his music. The very talented people, but that music, the beat has no connection to our culture at all. It
Yes.
has no connection to traditional Kenyan sound. If Calligraph can find a way of connecting that, he's breaking. If Nadia can find a way of doing that, Benga, for example, and Gengeton, she's gone.
Yeah, I really like her music. I think she sees the the forest through the trees, or is it the other way around? The trees through the forest. So she knows what's happening. Brian, I wanna switch to you here shortly. Some of the Being a dance choreographer, like a lot of the videos that you post, because I monitor what you post on Instagram, and a lot of your dance classes are like for kizomba. Some of them are like ndombolo classes, definitely.
Yeah.
It seems to me that definitely the crowd that you cater to is definitely receptive to that kind of music. Is it possible as well that, I mean, like, we're talking about recapturing Kenyan music in that sort of audience? Is the current state of what is coming out of the country capable of capturing that sort of audience that you cater to?
Yeah, like the song at Yambo, that was a really good production.
You're talking about the one by Bahati, the new one, right?
Bahati, and the new song of Bien.
Which was that?
Those be Parangotos did
The
a
Bald
good
Man
job.
Anthem.
Okay.
Hey, sisi hawa.
Naona
Shout out to
tuko
Bien.
wawili.
Oh, yeah.
Tuko wawili hapa. Shout out to Bien and Aaron Kirumbi. Bald Man Anthem. Tuko hapa.
That's a brilliant song, man. I mean, that whole campaign is clever. You know, I'm a big fan of what. Sorry to cut you, Brayo, but I gotta say this. I'm a big fan of what these guys do, because they're so purposeful with their craft, right? And I think it's addressing some of the things we're talking about. In my opinion, from what I've seen, and obviously I've been on this side way too long, that sometimes I feel like I don't need to comment on some of the nuances of the local Kenyan music, because I don't quite I'm not on the ground all the time, right? But from what I see, and because I'm in close, I work a lot with like Nigerian, promoters, and in the mix. I've been there in the mix, involved a few times. We've done some stuff in South by Southwest. We talk with these guys. What I'm seeing in Kenya is, at some point, and Brayo will go back to you, I just have to say this. At some point, I feel like the music in Kenya, the artists, the industry, became a way of just making money, right? If I make a song real quick, In 2 months, I'll be performing and I'll do my 2 songs and I'll get paid. You get, so the artist is just doing a song to get some kidogo tunes, but not thoughtfully doing an album because it's a body of work. You see what I'm saying? That sends a different message. And the message it sends, it's people can read through the lines because you didn't put in time to write, to make the beat, it becomes so template-like. And when you put that next to now the work Akina Sauti are doing, Akina Hat the band, Akina Mdoni, drama queen, people with songs, with a body of work, like an album, and you spend time doing an album, there's a big difference, right? Because even the way you market that album, people will feel it and connect to it, as opposed to a single that will drop today. Next month you have another one. So I don't know which one to like or which. I've not even seen you, but you want me to come to a concert. It was so fast, it was so rapid that you're too much. But then you're competing with people with body of work. You're competing with Nigerians that have albums and rollouts which are making sense. They're doing EPs, they're doing PR work, it's not individual, it's a business. The artist, there's a manager behind it, there's a booking for radio, there's a it makes, by the time you fall in love with this music, you don't even know why. It's because maybe you saw this person on TV, on radio, everywhere. They're all over you, right? Because they have a team behind them. That's when they do an album. But when they're individually doing singles, man, that's like mixtapes back in the day. Remember back in the day when DJs used to do mixtapes and just promote them? It was too many. You didn't even know who's DJs, do drama, DJ who, DJ. You know what I'm saying? Like there was no, it's like you can't. It was flooded with so much music that doesn't even have direction. That's where the problem, in my opinion, I think the break happened. Where it became, there's no Jobos in Kenya. There are no anybody. The industry is dead. So now everybody was like, I can make a few dollars performing. So let me go write a song. Let me jump in the studio with this guy and do some, yap, and then boom, I'm in the radio. I'm in the streets promoting. That's where the issues start happening, in my opinion. Sorry, Brayo, I took your time.
No, it's okay, but also to add on that, you have to keep in mind that people also are not ready for what was coming. I'll tell you, a lot of our Kenyan artists were not ready for success. They were not. There was no mentorship. There was no preparation. We were never prepared for fame. So when fame came also became our downfall. Think about it. Most of us became big-headed, and we could not listen even to other people's advice to be able to know how to rebrand ourselves. We got stuck to that glory of Ogopa. And what happened? Other people came, they saw where we are, they saw the artists were asleep, in sleeping in the glory of the moment, and they came and took over. I mean, I love what Michael used to do. Mzee never had his trophies where he moved around his house, because whenever he sees his trophies, he will always look at himself and beat himself. I'm the king of pop. So living sometimes in a bare wall will help you work more and more and more. So for Kenyan artists at that time, we started dwelling on the glory of what was happening, and we didn't have a vision of where we were going. That's why it was hard to see. One question I always ask, why didn't Nameless and Red Sun did a collab?
That's a good question. You tell us.
Yeah, so, because I remember when Red Sun, Baby Cool, and Chameleon came with Bagheera, these guys used to shut down everything. Gidi Majimaji. So you find collabos also is one thing we never capitalized as these musicians never capitalized back home. There was a lot of individualism. So it's everybody with their little party.
Yeah.
But these Nigerians started thinking in terms of how can we build an industry. P-Square did collabos with everybody, including Tom and Jerry. Mtu wote atakuja tufanye collab. Kenyan artists, we had the opportunity when Fali was still coming up. We had the opportunity when all these Nigerian artists were coming up. But sometimes it's that lack of preparation of this monster you guys have awoken. How do you maintain it? So at one point, I could see the whole industry coming down. And that's why I branched into teaching. And our music is so powerful because Mama Lea Mtoto Wako, the Chakacha song, is my biggest song till today in all my dance classes because of the beat.
So why haven't
Tanzania.
we urbanized?
Yeah, kwa nini hatuja urbanize? Because of one, also another side of things that I'll touch that is sensitive. Education is good, but also education has become a weapon in Kenya where we use it to judge each other and also judge skill and talent instead of empowering it. So now, instead of us being smart, using what we've learned and use it in a smart way to empower where we come from and the things around us, now we use it to degrade. That's why it's hard. It becomes hard for some of them to see, how can I urbanize Ohangla?
I think you've touched Jojjo in the right place because he's like, yes.
Yeah, of course. What are these Nigerians doing? What is Diamond and all these guys are doing? They're urbanizing their traditional beats.
Yep.
Sisi zote tunataka kusound kana nani Vibes Cartel. Hatuwezi.
But unapata some of the artists are beginning to deviate from that and just go back to the roots. I think Jojjo wants to chime in.
And before Jojjo chimes in, that's why you find like that song Bien released, Avi Parangoto. That song is top notch. You know, Aviambo is top notch. Yani me, I'm playing it in my classes. Wasi wanaanza kulia, wanaanza kusema, hey, your beat ni noma. Even there, the guys are singing. They don't understand what tunapenda. Fadi apendwe US juu just for the looks. It's his music. Some of these people in my class that are jivi wako wanajua Fali vile anakaa until waliona picha yake akasema wow. So unaona product first ili sell before artist aonekane. And Kenya we have that. Me, I remember Nina Noki vile ilitoka. It was the skills because of the chorus. So unapata hiyo ku urbanize even your own language inaletanga value ingine noma sana. Hauwezi beat. Watanzania tuko na enjoy hawezi ongea Kizungu. Now look at them today.
Yep.
You get so ndio unapata. Now it's time tuanze kuangalia tumelan. Okay, tuko smart pia. But also sasa tuanze kuona what can we change? Hii tunaweza fanya to urbanize traditional music yetu. Sote ngoma isukuti na urbanize itauza.
Brayo, ni ngoma gani imemake difference kubwa ya Sauti Sol? Ni ngoma gani? Sura yako ama Lipala? Sini Lipala?
Lipala inakuanga noma kwa class.
Lakini hiyo ngoma ilienda mbali, hiyo ya Sauti Sol. It went far, right?
Yeah.
So that's the formula right there. Urbanizing our music. Music that we already have. Si lazima tuende nje kutafuta.
Hapana.
Okay, reggae is big in Kenya. How many international reggae artists do we have from Kenya?
Usifanye Brayo acheke.
Because
Jojjo ameza matusi.
hapana, ngoja. Mimi nataka tusaidiane, tusaidiane kama Wakenya. Nafikiri Nairobi kuna madj wengi reggae kuliko Kingston. Madj wa reggae ni wengi na Kenya kuliko Kingston yenyewe. Okay? So if we can Kenyanize this reggae, vile Alpha Blondy alifanya, vile Lucky Dube alifanya, juu Lucky Dube hata si lazima imbe, the beat ikicheza yake unajua that's Lucky Dube. It's reggae but with a South African flavor. So in Kenya now, what we do is we just consume ile record inatoka hata kabla artist mwenyewe release, Kenya tumejua ya Jamaica. Okay, we already know, and tunaanza compete. I'm the one who got it first. Okay, but if now we use that because the market is there, we use that to develop the reggae scene in Kenya, we'll go far. Okay. The other thing is, all these years I've worked with Kenyan artists, not one, not even one, has ever asked me, Jojjo, I come to the US, okay, we do the show. Then what? Is there anything else we can do? Is there anything else we can do in the US so that we can go beyond the Kenyan market? No, it's always chapa. It's always the money. Nukshapata do, that's it. You go back to Kenya and the same one. So my advice is this. You may not necessarily make the same money here as you make in Kenya. Especially in Kenya, if you're a A-list artist, you're probably doing a lot of sponsor shows where Safaricom is coming in or whatever, and you're getting nice checks. You're not going to get those here because there's not that many Kenyans here. Okay? Utaanzia with 100, 200 people in the audience. Nalawa. But you also have to see far. Uangalie mbali ka giraffe useme, okay, what is it that we can do here in America so I can expand my horizon? I can reach different markets. Because I host a radio show called African Rhythms. Most of my listeners are white Americans. Most of the music we play is African. I played Samido last week. Do you know people called in? Wanasema, how come we never hear more of that? Which means Samido has a market here in America somewhere. But si umzungusha kwa hii sakoli ya Wakenya, okay? Na tunamkeep mostly jakuati because it's Mugithi, it has to be just a Kikuyu audience. No. If it's good music, it's good music. Unalewa. So the first thing, when an artist comes here or artist is coming here, they have to look beyond ile show nampatia. Angalia taendaje beyond hiyo. That has been one of the main reasons why our music is not going far. Because I remember there's an artist that came here who plays Kambanane, Nyatiti. So I tell him, listen, I'm going to introduce you to a new market. Okay, these white folks here will love what you're doing, but they have to know they have to see you first. I said, but no, I have to get paid. I have to get paid. So he lost that opportunity like that. And he went back to Kenya, and since then, I haven't heard of him. So apart from the music, anyway, I think there's so much that we can talk about. But the diaspora market here, my guys, we need to go back now. Maybe, I don't know how much time we have left, and talk about the diaspora market and what is it that we can do, or what is it that can be done, okay, to recapture that. I know Mike is gonna find.
Yeah, you're talking about You're talking about the time, Jojo. We're 10 past. Maybe go till the bottom of the hour here because it's the first show. There's a lot of ground to cover. So some of those topics we'll definitely cover in forthcoming shows. There was a comment here from one of our viewers here talking about we're talking, but she wants to find out what the action items actually are, which is really good because that's what you're saying is. Yes, we have knowledge about what needs to get done, but we need to collate our views and our thoughts together and say these are the action items. And by the way, just in case you're watching and are wondering, right, there's going to be other people also coming on the shows as well, just to give their perspective and the experience in terms of what has happened. But yes, we are going to collect action items and give them back to the industry stakeholders, people that we know, and hopefully they're receptive because I think we've had the discussion offline is a lot of times, and Brayo, you mentioned it as well, is that when we hear stateside, and Mike also touched on it, being that you got to realize that we are the biggest market dollar wise. So you probably need to pay attention to kind of what we have to say because we took over ground, as in we know what is happening. And when we say maybe this needs to get done, maybe just listen to it because usually, or at least recently, I've noticed that whenever you say something or even say something that might be considered controversial or somebody may think that you're criticizing them, you're not criticizing them. I don't have a reason to criticize you. I'm just telling you the way things are working or how people have succeeded here, especially you look at Afrobeat. There's 3, not 1, not 2. There are 3 Afrobeat / Nigerian songs today, right now, on the Billboard Hot 100. I mean, even 2 years ago, that is like unbelievable. So that proves that it can happen, and it can happen here as well, because like Mike had mentioned earlier, that's what the Nigerians and the Afrobeat people did, is utilize their networks in England, utilize their networks here stateside, and push their music here. Once you get that market here, then it's reversed because people start to actually buy records and start to, request those songs on the radio and in the day parties and in the clubs. So it's there are a lot of action items we'll put down, but hopefully it goes both ways.
Yeah, can I just chime in on that because it feels like we're about to end, but I just want to say some things because it's exciting and adding on to those action items and basically. And to clarify some things on that whole diaspora thing, I look at it like this. In Kenya, in Africa, really, data is very expensive, right? We can stream music 24/7. In my home, in my family here, we have a thing for years now. It's called YouTube Fridays, right? My daughters, they know every Friday until we are in the college, every Friday we have to, as long as we're in the house, we have to do a quick YouTube Fridays, unless we're out somewhere in a restaurant or we're missing it. And if we do, we'll play some African music. But we play it and it just streams on TV as we're doing everything else, cooking, waiting for dinner, and Ngomas Nacheza too. Even after that, it's YouTube Fridays. And it's been happening. I remember we started doing that back in the day, like when even we started, and I remember this because we started with Fuse ODG when Azonto was popular back then.
Right.
How many years ago is that? Like what? 6?
You're going to go 6-7 years ago. Your video is frozen, by the way, but go ahead.
Oh, my video. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Now we can see you now.
You're back in slow motion.
Now you're back in slow motion. You ni Windows 86 unatumia.
Windows 86. I don't know what happened. So anyway, can you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So anyway, my point with the diaspora is there's many things that can be done, where we can help. But the people I would like the artists to know that they have the independence now with these platforms, right? With social media, everybody has a phone. You can upload your music. There's platforms out there. There's platforms they can use. There's Spotify just came to Africa right now, came to Kenya. There's Apple Music. Those things are all free, right? So you don't have to be signed. You can quickly upload your music. Then go on your social media and promote. I'm sure you have cousins and friends and people in the States. Reach out to them. Wasambaze ngoma zako. let them encourage them to play your music on their phones, because they don't pay for data. It's free for us to play videos on our phones. Took on a monthly subscription, took on a unlimited data. We'll do that. Then we'll make it popular. Then hopefully you start getting money on the back end with these platforms, so that you can start affording to do better and better videos, And then and then the other thing I would say is encouraging other local investors, or say, come together the same way as we're saying, and I'm hoping we'll come together here for those of us in the diaspora and figure out how to create these platforms to help these people. I would urge also investors in Africa, come together and do the same thing. Create platforms and sign some of these people. Make labels, right? Go figure out how to start a label and locally help people come together. And by that, what I mean is not just the music side of things. Be a manager. The business students who are going to business school, from Strathmore to Nairobi University, all those places. Add music management to your course, like figure that out. There's YouTube University, you can figure out some of those things. And then just go and pitch some of these musicians and be like, yo, I have a degree, or I'm working with my degree in business. Let me be your manager, right? And then that way, those people start adding people in their teams that will help them do the other side of the business, where it's not just in the studio making beats and making music, but now you have someone you can trust who's going to walk out and go to the radio station, go to the meetings and push your stuff, Then you can start being a business and a brand. I think that's what's lacking, because the people who are doing that, the few people who are doing that are the ones who are blowing up, are the ones that we see their videos and we're like, damn, that's hot. Are the ones making the noise that is on the same par, to par with Afrobeats. It's those guys, because they have the machine behind them. Right. The other people who they're just falling off, those are the ones who are saying Tunasafa, and they're causing all these problems, right? Because they want, in my opinion, they want to be the artist and the businessman and the promoter and everything, and be in the video. They want to come on, concentrate, be an artist, and then trust someone else who has the same vision, who can guide you, right? Because by doing that, unajenga pia industry. So I remember when Nonini is still a brand right now, but I remember at the height of Nonini is when, at least when I was in Colony, and I saw this with my own eyes. I had to deal with, and I thought that was amazing. And I was like, yo, these guys are moving like a machine. I had to deal with Tall. Tall is the one who we met in Tao, so that I can finalize the schedule where he's going to be, so I can interview him. And I had to fly to Kisumu to catch up with him. You get? And then in the process, I went to Kisumu to catch them, but I had the meeting not in Nairobi with Nonini. Nonini was in the studio. I didn't even meet Nonini. I couldn't. He was buffered, right? See, he was moving as a business by then. So he already understood the value of this. So now, when we're in Kisumu, because of that relationship and the way these guys are professional, I told Paul, hey, let's PTILD, because that's where my folks are. Let me introduce you to my people. My uncles have clubs, they do events, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you guys can do a show there. And he came with me. We engaged number 3 and went to LD from Kisumu. In number 3, Nonini flew back to Nai. Tall came with me to do the business. I introduced him to my uncle. And then I came back to Stato afterwards. 2-3 months later, they did one of the biggest shows in LD because of that meeting. You get? So I did interface business with Nonini. It was just the manager. Right. So that works. But when the artist is the one who's like trying to figure out studio time, Junini, alafu and negotiate chapas a concert, he's gonna shortchange himself. Because he'll be, be like, Atambia Jojjo and Patia to 1,500.
Yeah, I think that in itself is going to be an entire show in terms of artist management, artist promotion. That definitely is one. We spoke about local airplay in terms of why do other genres get local airplay? And I know that's something Jojjo addressed in the book and talked about, because it didn't just start today. Like right now, you see Afrobeat is still king of the airwaves in Nairobi, as well as this new Amapiano genre as well. But imekuwa hivi since time immemorial. I mean, look at what our parents when they're growing up, like we used to listen to the Lingala songs. I think I told Jojjo one time I was researching some music for a show that I was doing, like a Congolese wedding, and they wanted me to play all the Congolese music. And I went to YouTube and I went through some of these obscure songs, and I pick up an obscure song and I play it. I don't know the name. I just play the song. Not only did I know the song, I knew the words to it and I could sing back. I'm like, why? That means that's kind of that's what we were being force fed as kids. So I ended up knowing what it was. So this is not a new phenomenon, and it's something that can definitely take up an entire show, and it will. We'll talk at length about that. So it is 8:21 right now. We're going to be winding down at the bottom of the hour, so I'll give just a few last words for Jojjo and Brayo to go up. This was the first of hopefully many conversations, because we've just scratched the surface of kind of what I think we have to offer. So Mike had some really good action items that I took down, so I'll have those and we'll collate those. But I'll let Jojjo go ahead, and then I'll let Brayo also chime in before we close up for today.
Diamond just did a show here on a Friday night, and the thing was packed. Harmonize came a week later, and there was hardly anybody there. So talent and business are two different things. Make sure, I'm talking to the artist now, make sure you're working on the business, because talent will not feed you. It's the business that's going to feed you. Talent is something you get naturally without even working hard for it. God gave it to you. Why is it that Nyashinsky, who's one of the most talented artists in Kenya, has not crossed over to other markets? The Diamond Show, everybody was there. West Africans, East Africans, they were there. Okay? Because Diamond studies the market, he looks at the trends, he sees what's going on. Okay? So his talent alone couldn't get him to where he is right now. It's the business side. Okay? So I'm giving Yashinsky as an example because he's so talented, and there is no reason why he has not crossed over at all. So if he comes to America, and he's been here a few times, he'll only perform to Kenyans. That's not fair at his caliber. So to Kenyan artists, what I'm saying is study the trends, work on the business aspect of it, and work the market, and you'll get there. Okay? And I like giving examples. Like I have a lot of hope in Nadia. I just saw she just signed up a new artist. Okay? And she also needs to look at the trends, because her beats will not take her there right now. She's on top in Kenya, but the beats are not going to take her there. She needs to look for a way of marrying her talent and that urban sound with our Kenyan cultural sounds, and it'll get there. That's one. Two, when you're planning to come to the US or any other market, look beyond the Kenyan market. Even if you came on a tour, ask, is there anything else we can do? Can I perform at an American club even if it's for free to reach a new audience? Usifike tu kwa Wakenya na urudi, haikusaidii sana. Unaona? And lastly, to Kenyan promoters. Okay? Don't just do an event because you want to sabotage somebody else's event. Don't do a house party just because you don't want somebody else's event to succeed. If you're in this business for the passion of it, if you're doing an event, do an event because you're promoting the music and also doing the business, not sabotaging other people. That's why all the big Kenyan events we had here are all gone. And I stop at that.
All right. That's actually going to be a whole show as well. It's a good one for the Kenyan events. Brayo, last couple of words before we close down for tonight.
Yeah, my thing is production, stage production, stage production. I'm glad I lived in DC and I made friends with a lot of West African promoters in DC. So I was able to be around and watch shows of people like P Square before they broke up. Now they're back together again. You
Right.
know, all these Nigerian acts, when Fali first came the first time, and now when he came with the band, you're looking at production level, production. And when you see our own coming, you see the level of production level they're bringing. Um, we need to stop looking at money. It's become, that has been our weakness as Kenyans. How much am I putting in this show? Expenditure. And that has cost us because you don't to invest in your own talent. You don't to invest in your own business. You don't invest in your own skill. And now when you get on stage, you can't please many. Some of these, I watched Diamond show. Yeah, but the truth is the glamour was a lot. Remember One Nation, One Africa, One Nation in New York? I
Right.
went for that one too. I watched. I'll sit in the audience and watch. I'll take notes. Because in my head, I'm like, if I ever get a chance to do a production for Kenyans, I know what to bring that these guys didn't have. I know how and that's the thing. Um, Also, we as artists, we need to know our strong points and where we belong. I'm not a singer. I'm not gonna force myself going to sing and doing all that stuff. No, but send me music as an artist. Help me create a stage performance. I don't need to be on stage. I'll create dancers. I'll create stage performances, and also our artists need to be trained how to step on stage, how to have the not just charisma and people shouting your name and women throwing whatever. No, you step on stage, you have control of everything. The environment is yours. You turn it to your bedroom. Those are the things that are going to bring our glory back. But it's gonna cost. And it's gonna cost financially, and it's gonna cost in terms of humility. I need to learn to be a better artist. Yeah, I need to learn because it's the same thing. When I watch some of the DJs DJ, kidogo do something there as me watching that will make your audience go like, oh my God, just a little bit of something. But we have to be in that place where we are teachable and never be scared of critics. Sometimes the people who have dropped the worst criticism on me, they didn't realize actually, they gave me tips. I sat down, I'm like, oh, and yeah, they said it with a bad heart, but there was some truth in it. So I dig for the truth, I get it out. Some of these Nigerian artists they don't really like each other, but because they have an understanding of we have to be on top, we have to dominate. It's not just about money, it's about occupation. They understand the power of occupation, not the power of how much I'm being paid or how much I'm spending. Once you occupy, you own anything. And that's what we need to start thinking of occupation. We need to start rebooting our mindset from just an industry to let's occupy. I don't just occupy the borders of Kenya that were drawn in 1885 without me being invited in that conference in Berlin. No. Huh? Ati?
Said you were not born.
Hata mapero wangu wako spam yet. Again, so
yeah,
let's think about occupying, because ukianza kufikiria in terms of occupation, you don't see Africa. Niliambiwa siwezi funza dance anywhere, but me, I was thinking in terms of how can I occupy the market out here. My students are not Kenyans. They're not even Africans. My proteges are not even Kenyans. They've never even been to Africa. Occupation. That's it.
That's it.
So,
all right, yeah. So as Brayo said,
quick question.
Oh, we're not done. We're not done.
No. Wait. I know we're leaving. I just want to leave you guys with this because I've been struggling with this, and I'm asking people this. So let me ask you. So should we consider? Should we consider a song Kenyan because the artist is Kenyan, or because of how it sounds? What makes it Kenyan?
Both.
Brayo, you got an answer for that? I've got an answer, so I'll wait.
We need to change the genre of how we actually brand ourselves now also.
Okay, the thing is this. Do you know what you've heard about world music, right?
I hate that term. Uh-huh.
A bunch of guys in London who came together and decided music from around the world, we're going to call it world music.
World music, right.
That's it. So I've heard this argument that, we cannot agree on a term for Kenyan music. Okay? That's fine. You cannot agree on that. Can you agree on what it should be based on? How come nobody ever samples Daudi Kabaka? I'm talking about Disney one, Gabriel Omolo. Daudi Kabaka was a phenomenon around Africa in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
Okay? He used to tour TZ, all those places.
Yeah.
No, how come nobody is sampling Fundi Konde? Or John Zenze.
Tuliambia ni washamba.
Sasa sisi
just call it as it is.
Yeah,
that's true.
Tunasema hao ni washamba, lakini tunachukua washamba wa Zimbabwe. How do tunaita international act, not knowing that a lot of the Zimbabwean music originated from Kenya. You know that, Don, we've talked about it.
We've talked about this a lot, and we will when we discuss the book, by the way.
Benga music is popular in Zimbabwe. Kwetu, hiyo ni muziki ya washamba.
Exactly.
Unaona? Nimewachia hapo Don. You guys can get this.
I'm going to answer Mike's question, and I'll answer it right. Yeah, I'll answer it with an example of why we should not limit ourselves. Look at South Africa, right? South Africa in the heyday, I want to say 97, 98, when the likes of TKZ were around, they had Kwaito music, which had infiltrated every part of Africa. So that's one. Yeah. In around the year 2001, 2002, you had your Black Coffees and people like that came out, and they were pushing house music around the globe, not just in SA. Remember, these people were touring around the world. Yeah. You had that. There is South African soul music, the likes of Lyra, right? She is an international known artist. You have South African rappers, aka you have Nasty C, you have Casper Nyovest. So, and all those three artists I've just mentioned have been signed on major labels, right? And last but not least, of course, you have the hottest genre in Africa right now, which is Amapiano. So you see a country like South Africa, within just a 20-year period, has been able to export 5 different sorts of music. Is it South African music? Nothing can define South African music. It's just a vibe, and it's the sound of the moment. So we Kenyans shouldn't say this song is Kenyan per se, but it could be Kenyan because it's sung by a Kenyan, but everything is going to be genre, is completely different genre based. I could like a song like Jojjo is saying from Fundikonde or somebody else, or I could like Nadia's new song, or I could like something from Samido. What makes them Kenyan in this sense is just that they're sung by Kenyans, but the Kenyan sound has no definition, really. You know?
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
because
that.
they're all spread in different ways and catering to different people. So
And I add
And I
one more
love
thing there, because
Mhm.
oh, sorry to cut you short, because also that will help the artists not limit themselves by where they come from in terms of tribe.
Yes.
A Kikuyu artist can feel comfortable and take Orutu, mix it with Nyatiti, and add Kidogo Mugithi in it and urbanize it
And
and make
Momboko.
it a sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like those answers very much. And the reason why I was asking that is because I've been trying to wrap my head around this to understand how can I make my contribution, obviously from this side of the world, but I'm very African skewed, right? Even though I live out here. And I went to South by a couple years ago, and one of the biggest question was how I could make all African music piggyback on this one genre called Afrobeat that was breaking all these ceilings and all these doors. And to me, I love what they're doing. I love what Afrobeat is doing for Africa, because I've been in situations where the Wazungus, the people here, they don't understand. My brothers here, African American brothers, they see me, they see Africa. Until like I tell them I'm Kenyan, they don't know the difference. All they know is like, yo, that Banner Boy, that whiskey, oh my God, that thing is, I'm me and my wife are vibing to this. That's the conversation we get. They see African guy, they want to talk about Banner Boy because he's everywhere. He's in the radio, the video is in the radio, Thames is everywhere, Thames and Ha are in the same level right now. But they're like, you African, man, the African music is good. So me as a Kenyan, of course, I feel some type of way that we're missing that boat. So the question I've been trying to ask people, and it came out there that even Focus brought it up. And that, so me, I think to add on to that is, if that's how you guys define that, then I think in the diaspora, we should be okay to tell people, let's accept to fall in under that, so that we can hold on to this machine that's already working right now and not reinvent the wheel from this side. Because re-educating people again about all these many genres when they're not as strong and powerful, it's just crazy. Even as much as Amapiano is the biggest genre right now in Africa, it's still not on the same level with Afrobeats in Stato.
Yep.
DJs know it, PDs don't know it, radio stations don't know that. Only the people in the community know, us, we know, the DJs, we know.
Right.
And by the time it comes, hold on, Jojjo, let me finish. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm looking back at 2010 when Coca-Cola embraced my boy, Kanan, and Waving Flag was the biggest song around the world. Mm-hmm. Literally, this is Coca-Cola giving Kanan a 300 million, or rather an African, giving an African person, label, a 300 million marketing machine on that song, Waving Flag. They did a tour with a trophy around the world to bring World Cup to Africa in South Africa. That was the official song of that whole thing. Think about that. Like, Kanan was everywhere. The problem, my opinion, Kanan at the time was stationed in Canada. That's where his home was. And he was between Canada and Stato. He's African. He's Somali. Out of all African countries, he was Somali. He's not even Kenyan. Not South African, not all those big music countries in Africa. He was Somalian. But $300 million budget behind him. He's opened all these doors. But there was no label, no musician, nobody else could piggyback on that machine and ride that wave that had been opened up everywhere. So where I sit right now, I'm seeing the same thing happening, where we have 5 songs or 3 songs in top 100 Billboard right now, platinum artists, gold coming up. Like, dude, this music is machine right now. Already some of the music sounds the same. Why are we not picking? Why can we just move away from? Because how do we take advantage of that? Otherwise, we're going to be left again here fighting about pesa tatu here, call me this, call me that, call me this, when this thing is moving away, and then it's going to be India. We're going to be doing Punjabi in the next few months if we don't. We'll miss the boat, man. Like another.
All I want to say is, Don, all those South African genres you mentioned, there's some OG South African music that's in there. You hear the beat, you don't know, it could be a piano, whatever, kwaito. There is some South African flavor there, okay? If you hear Afrobeat, there's a Nigerian underlying influence that you can tell, that you can pick up, okay? If you hear bongo flavor, there's that Swahili culture thing going on over there. If you hear Kenyan urban music, there's nothing that you can put your finger on. That's the problem. Okay, there's nothing that you can put your finger on and say it's been influenced by rumba or it's been influenced by benga or ohangla. That is the issue. Okay, so for example,
until now, it's beginning to happen. It's beginning to happen.
It's beginning to happen, and I'm glad it's beginning to happen. Okay, so let's say if a record label in Kenya filled ohangla with gengeton and it became big, you will feel that ohangla influence. You know what I mean? If it's like the Sauti Sol song, you feel the what is it called, Lipala influence in there. Okay, you cannot detach that from the urban music of Kenya. You cannot detach that. Okay, if you want it to be successful, you have to attach something Kenyan to it. You can even do reggae, like Dube did. He did roots reggae, but you could tell there's some South African vibe going on in there. So all I'm looking for, all I'm encouraging artists to do is do hip hop if you want, do whatever, do reggae, do something. There has to be some Kenyan attachment to it, apart from just the language.
Okay.
And one last thing that I would suggest we all do. At least we have 2 good songs. Bien, Vipara wajitete hapa hivi, and Adhiambo. Let's share among ourselves. Let's share it to people, because this is how also on YouTube these people start getting recognition. Let's not just share it among Kenyans. Because like for me, I share good, especially when Adhiambo came out, I nilianza kusambaza kwa WhatsApp with my students. That's how we create mileage for these people also back home, and they start realizing, oh, the quality is good. Okay, let me release another one again of a higher quality, But if we don't do that also, because we have to realize, Kavile Mike amesema, could download video YouTube home ni expensive.
Yeah.
But we in the diaspora, we have the power to make the numbers for them.
You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
We have the power to make the numbers for them. But with that also, we have the power to make them realize if you don't release quality, utajipata unaimba kwa bedroom nayo. You get what I'm saying? So let's start with the 2 now that we have.
Okay.
And that's how you start a movement. Start changing how the whole artist game starts changing even back home. Because me mtu ata wamenitumia ngoma zingine naangalia hivi nasema, me, I'm not sharing this.
But you, just know that happens everywhere in Nigeria, in Tanzania, Nini. There are artists who send some whack songs that you cannot listen to.
Yep.
So we just know the top Tanzanian or top Nigerian, top Kenyan. It just doesn't happen in Kenya. There's really good music coming out of Kenya. And everything we're saying here, we're not criticizing. We're trying to help our music grow. Okay? That's all.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, I'm going to end on a lighter note here. I've got a couple of photos I'm going to share.
Oh, all right.
Brayo huku ni wapi? What is this? I believe Jojjo is the one who got that particular photo. Hapo
Hiyo
ni
show
wapi?
ilikuwaga show ya Alikiba Atlanta Thanksgiving organized by TOD.
2010, huh?
Yeah.
2010.
Wow.
Huh?
Around there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hiyo ilikuwa, it was a production that was done. I'll give what's his name? Focus credit on that show for one thing. He made sure the production was done. Huo mse alifungia huko akasema lazima hii show ikuwe na itakuwa tu show, lazima ikuwe ya production. We may not have the kind of budget, but taiskuma. And that guy forced it until it worked. That's one respect na kuanga nayo ya Focus. Akiamua kufanya kitu, anakuanga blind. Hata umwambie nini, haoni kitu ingine, anaona hiyo kitu anataka. Hiyo show, hiyo pizza, ile suffering mom. Hii pizza ile suffering mingi.
Yeah. But kumbuka nilifanya show ya Alikiba before that, when Alikiba only had one hit, Cinderella. He sang it like 5 times that night. People loved it.
I did the same show in 2009.
You have
Yep.
you have a
That's
picture.
the same time.
Yeah, I have a picture of that. Yeah, I have a picture of that. The one I'm going to put up for the one I'm going to put up for Jojjo is this one.
Na kama soul t-shirt hivi ka black.
Missouli, okay. Missouli. Which one are you trying to put up, Don?
Yeah, I'm going to put up this one, Jojjo. Tell us a little bit about that.
Hey, maze,
Huku ni wapi?
Jo, maze kuna watu wako na mavipara wako wengi jo. I'm about to
Indio bold men anthem. Ando wangeimba hiyo wimbo.
That's me and Fred Obati Machoka, the blackest man in Black Africa.
Do you know that's the man? That's the man who that man played so much in inspiring us to be dancers.
He's a legend, man. He was in Minneapolis. I did a show for him. He DJ'd the show. He actually was more of a host and Big Boy DJ'd.
I was there.
You were there.
I was there, yes.
He was telling Big Boy what music to play. And that night, man, one of the best nights ever. That guy is legendary. Big ups to Machoka.
Alitujenga, because if it wasn't for Machoka, singewahi on some of the videos and got inspired to be an artist. Yeah. Music time. Hey, my friend.
I'm telling you. Yeah,
unajua kuna watu wamezaliwa Kenya na kuna wase walizaliwa another side of Kenya. Na pesa ndio iliwaosha. Ni watu kama sisi. Watu wa Kangembi. Internet ilikuwa inaishia West. Radio waves, TV waves zikaishia West. Lakini Obati Machoka alikuwa na penetrate. Music time ilikuwa ina make.
Yeah. Fred Obati Machoka, the blackest man in Black Africa. So,
right.
Mike, for you, we had this one. Well, I had that initial one, Hip Hop Colony. If you've not seen the movie, Mike, is it still out on streaming platforms?
Right now, just the website. I've been talking to some people. I mean, I'm glad this came back. Was it last year? When did you? What did the thing? 2 years ago, and you know, DJ Poison Ivy brought it back. Helped to bring it back up because I'd forgotten about it. It happened to be the 15th anniversary, so that was good. And we did something actually, and we played it on Facebook. And I had to dig it up, dust things, and look for it. And I mean, life happened, right? I moved on and all that, but she helped bring it up. So it's been bubbling in my mind, and I'm trying to figure out how to bring it back, repurpose it, because like Brayo said, a lot of people haven't watched it, or they, you know, it played, it happened, but I guess the message is still relevant, and I'm still looking for the right way to put it out. Though you can find it on the website. It has a website. If you go to hiphopcolony.com, it's right there. But I feel like I want to do something bigger, you know. So for me, I'm working on, and I'm hoping that, I mean, let me just put it out in the universe. don't remember how VH1 used to do those hip hop honors.
Right.
VH1, right? Remember those events? Bring out the old school people, and then you celebrate the moment and give them their flowers and all that. I've always wanted to do something like that for Hip Hop Colony, you know. So I think to me that would be the right way to do it, or to bring it back up, you know. So some of these people, especially like just what happened the other day with Big Mike, you know, with us losing, and what they've done to the industry, the contribution. Because when we started, even myself, when I started, I was, small guy just trying to figure this out. I never knew, I was fighting for it. Nobody knew, Brayo, we all started almost at the same place. Like, if you look at some of the cats who are still doing it, they've become brands and businesses and moved on, and, so I would want to do something where we look back and say, yo, this is actually where it started. Let's give these guys their flowers. Let's, people like Frank, Fundi Frank, he's still in the game, right?
Yeah.
He's mentoring people. He's still 10 toes down, still doing the work in the community. Man, so there's a lot of people along the way who've actually maintained the business. We lost Bruce Odhiambo. Bruce was also very, very important in this industry and shaping the music industry in Kenya. He was in the film as well. So it's just, and that's what I want to do, where we bring it back the right way. It's not just about watching it. It's also about talking about the topics, celebrating those people. So that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. And there's some talks on the table that I've been slowly trying to pursue.
Cool.
So,
one last thing. Alafu niende. Sitasema kingine Don. The other thing, actually, let me say something. Without you guys, just know we would have never made it to the US. Music would have never made it to the US from our neighborhood. Yeah. So as much as tunaweza kupatia wengine pongezi na nini, respect to you guys for the great job. And the little tours, you guys made it to be a big tour. One of my craziest tour was Mr. Nice. I had an experience to TopDonn. And then nikaenda Minneapolis na Jojjo. Jojjo anajua vile kulienda. So, but my thing is, you guys, whatever you're doing, let's think also of investing in willing proteges. Because unaona kama Don vile umesema uko na a whole storage iko na nini, you can run your own DJ industry. Wase ikue, how can I put it? Sio lazima ufungue shule, unaweza kuwa na ma DJ una dispatch wewe mwenyewe, wanatoka kutoka kwako, so that's another thing ile lack na muziki artist wa home hawakuwa na proteges.
Na sisi pia unajua pale pia tunajiwekea makosa ni when we kind of stop promoting ama tuka haters, we did not take the time to advise the ones who were coming on.
Yeah.
Lakini sasa zingine unajua pia Wakenya si kwa kichwa ngumu, kuna wengine hataki kuadvise ama whatever, lakini let's reconnect that. Hao wana promote sahi, tuambie pale tumetoa hii industry now, wakimbie nayo.
Yeah, cause unajua hata nikwambia unachekikaa sasa kayo Hip Hop Colony, that's a foundation. Itasaidia a protege. Hii experience nyinyi mko nayo kwa brain yenu, hawa toi wataweza kuisurvive, wata need proteges. Mimi nikiangalia dance mtaani, nimeanza saa kujicommit, ile saa kukuwa involved, kumessage wengine wala nataka kuongea na mimi, mostly utapata madancers come to Alikiba ndio tu approach, ndio nimedeal nao 1-to-1. But sasa mimi zile za I want to invest in dancers back home, kuanza sasa ku-raise generation ingine pia, so that hiyo cause hii vacuum yao sasa tunaongea juu yao, wanazeeka, wanaondoka. So we have to start accepting the young ones who are coming in, na tuanze kwanza kuwa show love na kuwa prepare.
Right.
Yeah. Tuanze kuwa na maportoje. Juu historia tunataka kwenda back to the old glory, haitawaka.
No, you
Lazima
really.
tuanza kuangalia sasa mbele, our young ones. So don't kaa kuna vijana hapo hivyo wana admire ukidj na nini, wanakubebea speaker, anza kuonyesha na nini. That's how you keep your name going.
Wako, by the way, wako.
Yeah,
Wako
that's how
watatu.
you keep your name going. You know, niliambia sasa hivi hata si need kuteach chakacha anymore US. Nina wanawake watatu nimetrain. So
Hiyo ni poa.
Una get, so tukifanya hivyo tuna grow industry. Tuna grow movement. Because also these artists have to think, akakufa kaule boy mazee, niko nimependa huo boy by the alishutiwa jana, akakufa, nani ataendelea na legacy yako ya muziki?
Yeah.
Nani atakuwa akisema gati mazee mimi nilikuwa influenced na so and so? Na get, because kama mimi nikakwambia mistari ya Kiswahili ilikuwa influenced na Isa kabisa, Isa alinifanya nipende Kiswahili. Na get, so yeah, so napata hata bongo ikitoka naanza kuenjoy juu ya Isa. So hiyo influence, so tukianza kuinfluence each other like that, itasaidia industry kugrow, na ina grow na love, sina hate. You know, ile mtu anaangalia nasema nenda kuona Donna nisaidie na hii story. You know, artist hata akiwa mkubwa aje, you know, na watu tukianza kuwa raise na hiyo mentality ya learning, itasaidia hata wakiwa how famous, watakuwa humble kuweza kuja kuuliza mazee, hapa hivi nimetupa mbao, naweza endaje? Mi kuna boy mimi enda kuongea naye juu story ya photography, he's younger than me, but msee ana skill, atanipatia tips. Unaget, so the same thing, tufanye hivyo.
Safi kabisa. We've almost done 2 shows, so we're almost at the top of the hour. So I think we're going to be stopping for today. I want to thank the entire panel, obviously, for being here. Jojjo, asante sana. Mike, thank you so much. Brayo as well, asante ni sana. For those viewing for the first time, once again, this was Conversations with TopDonn. The topic today was the Kenyan music industry. So we were just taking a look at the journey here stateside in terms of where it has come from and where we're going. We still have a lot of topics to discuss. Typically, our timings for these conversations are going to be Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Chicago time. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving weekend, so we will be off. So I will be communicating the details of the next show in the upcoming days. But thank you so much, folks, for watching. It's been a great conversation. To the panel, thanks so much, and we will see you guys next time. Asante ni sana. Peace.
Asante ni sana.
Bye.
Appreciate it.